For 1,000 years, historians traveled to Egypt to see the famous Labyrinth of Hawara. They said it was so massive, it made the pyramids look small. It covered 3 million square feet, 70 acres of rooms and corridors stacked on multiple levels. The Egyptian priests allowed visitors on the upper floors, but the chambers below ground were off limits. They claimed those rooms belonged to the kings who built the labyrinth. Archaeologists say the labyrinth is a myth, but new technology proves it's still down there. And if the priests were telling the truth, the Egyptians didn't build it, they found it. Hawara sits at the edge of the Fayum Oasis, about 50 miles south of Cairo. Today, it looks like a pile of rubble in the shadow of the crumbling Black Pyramid. But 4,000 years ago, this place was alive. And right in the middle of it was a building that made the pyramids look like toys, the Labyrinth. Historians wrote about it for 600 years. Different eras, different languages, different cultures, but they all described the same thing. Herodotus was there around 450 BC. The priests who ran the complex acted as his guides. They walked him through the upper structure. He saw thousands of rooms connected by winding passages. He described it as intricate and confusing, a massive structure designed to overwhelm the senses.
Yeah, so it was an IKEA?
No, it was a sacred administrative and religious center, not a furniture store.
I don't know, thousands of rooms, no way out, people wandering around crying. Throw in some Swedish meatballs and that's IKEA.
Herodotus said the construction was beyond human ability.
I saw it myself, and I found it greater than words can say. For if one should put together all the buildings and great works produced by the Greeks, they would prove to be inferior to this labyrinth. The labyrinth surpasses even the pyramids.
The upper floor alone was massive, and around the maze of rooms were 12 enormous chambers called courts. Each represented one of Egypt's regional governments. And the upper structure was only a small part of the complex. The priest told Herodotus about the underground chambers, but refused to show him. Only priests went below. They said the lower levels held the burial vaults of sacred crocodiles, mummified, wrapped in linen, with bronze teeth and eyes made of jewels.
Yeah, great. Now the lizard people got bling.
There are two kinds of chambers, one below the ground and the other above. 3,000 in number, but the chambers underground we heard about only, for the Egyptians were not willing to show them, saying that here were the kings who first built this labyrinth, and of the sacred crocodiles.
Thousands of rooms above and below. That distinction matters. Amenemhat III is linked to the labyrinth around 1800 BC, but the priests implied the original builders came earlier, much earlier. 4 centuries after Herodotus, Roman geographer Strabo wrote that the labyrinth was still there and was still in use. Strabo was just as stunned as Herodotus, but one feature stood out.
No stranger can find his way in or out without a guide. But the most marvelous thing is that the roof is made of a single stone, with no wood or other material involved.
Strabo saw a roof made of massive stone slabs. No wood, no beams, just millions of tons of rock floating over their heads. Over 100 years later, the labyrinth was still there. Historian Diodorus Siculus wrote about it. So did Pliny the Elder. Everyone knows the legend of the Minotaur, Theseus, and the labyrinth. It's the most famous maze in history. Pliny the Elder said the famous Greek labyrinth was just a cheap copy.
There is no doubt that Daedalus adopted it as the model for the labyrinth built by him in Crete, but that he reproduced only 100th part of it.
Herodotus, Strabo, Pliny, Diodorus Siculus, all kinds of historians describe the same thing. Multiple levels, thousands of rooms, an impossible maze, architecture and construction far beyond anything humans are capable of. And there's another detail every historian agrees on. Nobody is allowed to enter the lower chambers. And for 2,000 years, nobody did. Eventually, the labyrinth was looted and quarried for stone. Archaeologists said there's nothing left of the Hawara labyrinth but rubble and sand, if it existed at all. Boy, were they wrong. This message is sponsored by Greenlight. Some things about growing up are universal, like getting your first bit of money and immediately blowing it on candy with no clue how to save or invest. Managing money takes experience, and that's exactly what Greenlight helps kids build. Greenlight is a debit card and money app made for families. Parents can send money easily, monitor spending, and set flexible controls, while kids and teens get real-world experience managing money. The app even has a chores feature where you can tie allowance to actual responsibilities. It's a great system for teaching the value of money and keeping the house running. Greenlight is the easy, convenient way for parents to raise financially smart kids and families to navigate life together. Maybe that's why millions of parents trust and kids love learning about money on Greenlight, the #1 family finance and safety app. Don't wait to teach your kids real-world money skills. Start your risk-free Greenlight trial today at greenlight.com/thewhyfiles. That's greenlight.com/thewhyfiles to get started. greenlight.com/thewhyfiles. In 1888, the world's most famous archaeologist arrived at Hawara. Sir William Matthew Flinders Petrie was more than an academic. He was an explorer. He lived in rock tombs, he fought off bandits, and invented the methods archaeologists still use. He came to Hawara to find the tomb of Amenemhat III. What he found was a death trap. The pyramid was designed to kill anyone who entered it. Petrie spent months digging into the rock, trying to find an entrance, but every tunnel was a dead end. He realized the pyramid wasn't solid stone. It was mud brick held together by loose sand, and it was unstable. As he dug, the tunnel kept collapsing. Sand poured in like water. At one point, he was crawling through a narrow passage. Suddenly, his shoulders jammed against the stone. He tried to move. He was stuck.
Nope. I'm having a panic attack just listening to this.
Petrie was pinned in a stone coffin. He had millions of tons of brick, sand, and mud pressing down on him. He tried to call for help, but he couldn't breathe. Then, his candle went out. But this was Flinders Petrie. He didn't panic, he just waited. Eventually, a worker behind him realized something was wrong and tossed a lit match down the tunnel. That brief flash gave Petrie the orientation he needed to twist free. But he didn't quit. He lit another candle and went back in. He tried the north side first, but found nothing. So he took a chance and tunneled south. And after just a few feet, he found an entrance. And not just a hole, he found a door with steps leading down under the pyramid. But now he had a new problem. Hawara sits on a canal just off the Nile. Centuries of irrigation raised the water table. The steps disappeared under salty, filthy water. Petrie went in anyway. He crawled through the slime, darkness, and swarms of rats. When he finally broke into the inner passages, the water was chest deep. He found sliding trap doors and false passages. He found massive stones hanging from the ceiling, rigged to drop on intruders. Please don't. You're ruining the tension. Petrie disarmed the traps one by one. When he finally reached the central chamber, it was carved from a single block of yellow quartzite. The roof was made of 3 slabs of white quartzite, each weighing 45 tons. It was an architectural masterpiece, and it was empty. Tomb robbers got there first. Feeling defeated, Petrie studied the field of rubble next to the pyramid. He found the remains of an enormous building that covered 70 acres. Petrie realized what he discovered. The location matched ancient maps. The dimensions matched ancient descriptions. He was standing on the foundation of the lost labyrinth of Hawara. He was sure of it. But there was not much there, so Petrie packed up and went back to England. It was a tremendous discovery, but he was disappointed that the labyrinth was gone. But Petrie forgot one thing. The labyrinth went down multiple levels. He thought he discovered the foundation. It was actually the roof. The labyrinth wasn't destroyed. It was right under his feet, and it's still there. Louis de Cordier wasn't an archaeologist. He was a Belgian artist and philosopher who spent years studying ancient architecture. He was convinced Petrie missed something. It took 2 years, but de Cordier managed to get a permit to survey the Hawara site. He partnered with Egypt's National Research Institute of Astronomy and Geophysics, and he brought the most advanced ground-penetrating radar available. De Cordier's team started scanning in early 2008. The equipment could see through 50 feet of sand and sediment, and what they found confirmed 2,500 years of history. They found a massive grid of walls 40 feet down. The walls were several feet thick. And they were granite, not brick. The structure covered about 750,000 square feet. That's the size of 10 football fields. They published the results. The press picked up the story. This was one of the greatest archaeological discoveries in history. Then nothing. Zahi Hawass was Egypt's Secretary General of the Supreme Council of Antiquities.
Secretary General of the Supreme Council? Oh, the ego of this guy.
He was the most powerful archaeologist in the country, and he controlled all the permits. He imposed a communication ban on the discovery. He said it was a matter of national security.
National security? On a 5,000-year-old building? This guy's got some stones.
Right? Decordier waited. 2 years passed. The official release never came. The team couldn't discuss their findings. They couldn't publish follow-up research. They couldn't return to the site, not unless Hawass allowed it. By June 2010, Decordier had waited long enough. He published the data himself. Scans, reports, analysis, everything the Egyptian government refused to release. They blacklisted him. Decordier now lives in the mountains of southern Spain. He went from presenting at European universities to farming almonds. Decordier lost everything just for sharing data he collected legally with the help of the Egyptian government. But Zahi Hawass wanted to make an example of him. He wanted to make sure no one else tried to expose their secrets. But Decordier wasn't the only one. If you find something in Egypt that challenges the official timeline, you don't get a Nobel Prize. You get banned. In 1993, German engineer Rudolf Gatenbrink sent a robot up a narrow shaft in the Great Pyramid. He found something nobody expected, a limestone door with copper handles. He made the mistake of telling the world. Hawass immediately banned him. Then Hawass took the robot and the credit.
And he was the one Zahi supposedly discovered it, but he's discovered everything.
I discovered. Now, about what I discovered in the stone that I discovered. I want to show the whole world what I discovered,
Right.
and I discovered major important things.
Are they online?
No, in my book, Giza and the Pyramids. In my book, Giza and the Pyramid.
It happened again in April 2008. The same month Decordier was scanning at Hawara, researcher Andrew Collins was at Giza. He followed old notes to the Tomb of the Birds. Collins found a crack in the rock leading to a massive chamber. He and his team made it several hundred yards into a system heading toward the second pyramid. They found carved rooms and passageways. Collins reported it. Big mistake. Hawass said the caves didn't exist. Collins was banned from the site. A few months later, Hawass was filmed entering the same caves.
Rules for thee, but not for Zahi. You see what I did there?
Hawass called exploring the caves an incredible experience, but nobody else would have that experience. In 2010, a metal gate was installed over the entrance. No further exploration is allowed.
You cannot just go in directly like this. You have to make a study. You have to research it. You have to decide as a scientist, when can you do it? And when we can use it,
been 9 years.
we do that, we can...
Yeah, 9 years,
come on.
brother.
I mean, look, we sent
9
rockets.
years.
We sent
No,
rockets
you
to
are
the...
wrong.
Hang on,
You are
don't
wrong. Why give you permission to drink of nonsense? What you believe, it's nonsense.
Okay, listen, the matter is debated rich and closed. It is debated closed. It's closed in Chicago by World Australian by Herodotus. Exactly, and we will take it.
Jimmy, I want you to understand. This conspiracy theory that you do have is wrong, completely. We do not hide anything. We have the scan pyramid team.
Right.
They're working.
But you understand this is different technology.
I understand, but they
Right.
know about this technology.
But have they used this
No,
technology?
they said this technology cannot work.
Discovery, suppression, silence. The same pattern, and the same man behind it all, Zahi Hawass. The Labyrinth exists. It's considered the greatest structure of the ancient world. It's right there, 40 feet underground, but no one is allowed to dig. On July 21st, 2015, a private meeting took place in the Crown Hotel in Harrogate, England. Tim Akers was a former RAF officer and satellite expert. He spent his career tracking submarines and underground bunkers. He had something to show a small group of researchers. He used synthetic aperture radar, the same technology that finds hidden nuclear sites. Akers pointed it at Hawara. The scan showed 4 levels beneath the roof, not one. They were separated by up to 100 feet of solid rock. A central corridor connected all 4 levels. It was a vertical shaft running the full depth of the complex, extending 150 feet underground. An omega-shaped moat surrounded the entire structure. The shape matched the Egyptian Shen ring, the symbol of eternity. Then Akers showed them the central hall. The bottom level stretched 300 feet long and 120 feet wide. Every level converged on this space. And at the center of the hall was a freestanding object. It measured about 130 feet long. But here's where the story gets crazy. The radar return signal changed. It wasn't reflecting off stone. It wasn't wood or mud brick. The signature was metallic. A solid metal object the size of the Statue of Liberty buried 100 feet underground, shaped like an upright disc or a ring. Akers said the material signature wasn't like anything he'd seen in his entire career, but it was there, and he didn't think it was a tomb. The shape suggested something functional, a ring that size made of metal buried at the exact center of a 4-level complex. It wasn't decorative. It was built to do something. Some on his team thought it was a portal. Others thought it could be a power generator. The only thing they agreed on, it wasn't a coffin. Akers and his team kept the finding secret for a decade. They learned from Decordier, if you go public, you get blacklisted. They wanted to excavate. They needed permits. After 10 years of quiet negotiations, they finally released the data in 2025. Still no permit. It's a 4-level underground complex with a 130-foot metallic object at the center. It's associated with Pharaoh Amenemhat III around 1800 BC. But the Egyptian priests said the labyrinth wasn't built by the pharaoh as a burial tomb. It was built by a much older civilization as a library. Those ancient people needed a place to store their knowledge before they were wiped out in a great flood.
You mean?
The priests were talking about Atlantis.
Yahtzee!
When Plato wrote about Atlantis around 360 BC, he was specific. He named his source. He said Egyptian priests told the story to the Greek statesman Solon 2 centuries earlier. The priests had records. They had dates. Plato said Atlantis fell around 9600 BC. Geologists say the Ice Age ended around 9700 BC. Robert Schoch dates the Sphinx to 9700 BC. 3 different sources, 1 specific date. For most of history, that date meant nothing. No civilization existed that early. Then we started finding things. Around 9700 BC, the Younger Dryas period ended. Global temperature spiked and the ice sheets collapsed. Sea levels rose over 400 feet. Coastlines around the world flooded. Entire land masses vanished beneath the waves.
How dare you!
Every major ancient culture has flood myths dating to this exact period. Different cultures, different continents with no contact, but they tell the same story. The Egyptians had their own version. They called the pre-flood era Zep-Tepi, or the first time. The pyramid texts talk about it repeatedly. These are the oldest religious writings in the world. The Turin King List has dates and durations, divine rulers that reigned for thousands of years before human pharaohs. This wasn't vague mythology, these were administrative records. Mainstream Egyptology calls this symbolic. They say the gods represent concepts, not beings. Then there's the Temple of Horus at Edfu. The Edfu building texts span over 300 feet of wall space. They describe the temple's construction on foundations from an earlier structure that existed before the flood. They reference beings called the Shebtu. These were followers of Horus who arrived after a great cataclysm destroyed their homeland. They also mention 7 sages who came with them from an island swallowed by the sea. These aren't scribbles on a papyrus. These are carved into the temple walls. And these texts describe what these beings did. They established sacred mounds throughout Egypt. They laid foundations for temples at precise locations. They brought knowledge of astronomy, architecture, mathematics, and medicine. They taught the people who would become the first Egyptians. Now, this doesn't read like mythology. This reads like history. The Edfu texts describe a lost civilization that brought knowledge to Egypt. Mainstream historians call it a nice story. They say there's no physical evidence that this first time ever existed. They're wrong. The evidence is carved into the bedrock itself. Every holiday season, I make lasagna or a heap of delicious pasta. It's an Italian family tradition. I love doing it. Once. The rest of December, I don't have time to play personal chef every night, but that's where Cook Unity comes in. It's not takeout. It's not frozen. These are fully cooked, restaurant-quality meals made by real chefs delivered fresh to your door. Just heat and eat. I had the beef bolognese rigatoni from Chef Michelle Bernstein. Veal, Italian sausage, white wine in the sauce. Absolutely amazing and tastes like something I would make. Cook Unity has over 300 rotating meals, seasonal menus, and everything from comfort food to vegan options. You can browse by chef, cuisine, or even by macros. For the holidays, they're serving up glazed holiday ham, turkey dinner, and maple whipped sweet potatoes, bringing all the festive flavor without any of the chaos. No shopping, no cleanup, no thinking. Just real food from award-winning chefs for way less than takeout. Go to cookunity.com/thewhyfiles or enter code thewhyfiles before checkout to get 50% off your first order. That's 50% off your first order by using code thewhyfiles or going to cookunity.com/thewhyfiles. In 1991, geologist Robert Schoch took a close look at the Great Sphinx. The walls showed vertical fissures. These are erosion patterns caused by prolonged rainfall, not wind, not sand, water falling from the sky over extended periods. Egypt's last significant rainfall ended around 5000 BC. Schoch estimated the minimum construction date for the Sphinx was between 7000 and 5000 BC, but he later pushed that estimate to 9700 BC, based on additional geological analysis. This was directly after the cataclysm and directly after the floods receded. The same weathering appears on the Assyrian at Abydos. Massive red granite blocks are cut with precision modern engineers struggle to replicate. And there's water. Constant water fills the lower chambers, and it cannot be pumped out. The site was designed for water. Edouard Naville excavated the Assyrian in 1914. He was a mainstream Egyptologist, not a fringe theorist. He said he wouldn't be surprised if this was the most ancient architectural structure in Egypt. He was ignored. Strabo explicitly stated both the Assyrian and the Labyrinth shared the same builder. He called the king Ismandis. Same builder, same era, same construction techniques. Göbekli Tepe in Turkey proves advanced construction existed in 9600 BC. Massive stone circles, carved pillars weighing tons, astronomical alignments precise to fractions of degrees. It was built by people who supposedly hadn't invented agriculture yet. Then it was intentionally buried around 8000 BC. It was as if someone wanted to preserve it and keep it hidden. Someone was here long before the ancient Egyptians, and whoever they were, they helped jumpstart Egyptian civilization. Hieroglyphics appeared suddenly around 3500 BC. They were complete and perfect. There was no developmental period, no primitive early versions. Math, medicine, astronomy, architecture, all appeared fully formed. It was as if someone handed the Egyptians a complete operating manual. And that operating manual is still here. Every bit of ancient knowledge is in the Labyrinth. We can read it right now today. All we have to do is dig. If an advanced civilization knew it was about to be destroyed, they would do exactly what we would do. They would preserve what mattered. They would store knowledge somewhere it could survive. They would build a vault. Every civilization builds archives, from the Library of Alexandria to the Vatican archives. In the 1930s, Edgar Cayce described another archive. Cayce was a transmedium. He delivered over 14,000 documented readings across 43 years. He diagnosed medical conditions for patients he'd never met, conditions he had no training to identify. Doctors used his readings for treatment, but his most controversial claims involved Atlantis. Hundreds of readings across 2 decades returned to the same subject. According to Cayce, an advanced civilization was destroyed around 10,000 BC. lives around the end of the last ice age. It's the same time frame as the Younger Dryas Cataclysm. But there were survivors. They scattered to Egypt, the Yucatan, and the Bahamas. They brought technology, they brought knowledge. And to preserve that knowledge, they built archives. Casey described a hall of records beneath the Giza Plateau in dozens of separate readings between 1923 and 1944. He described 32 tablets documenting Atlantis from the beginning. They were written in both Atlantean and Egyptian script. It was a Rosetta Stone for a lost civilization. And Casey was specific. He talked about their technology, sound waves used for construction, acoustic levitation. He described crystals that generated power. The entrance is under the Sphinx's right paw, and the Sphinx served as a guardian sentinel. It marked the archive's location for those who know where to look. Casey's followers took him seriously. In the 1990s, the Association for Research and Enlightenment funded seismic surveys at Giza. A man with a sledgehammer pounded a steel plate on the desert surface. Shockwaves traveled down through the rock and back up. The readings showed a chamber exactly where Casey predicted. It was beneath the Sphinx's paw, and he wasn't the only one who saw it. Dorothy Eady was a British archaeologist who worked for the Egyptian Department of Antiquities. She was a sane, rational researcher who also happened to believe she was the reincarnation of an ancient priestess.
Oh, I believe her. I was a king in a past life.
You were a king.
Okay, a shift manager at a Taco Bell in Jersey. But I ruled that drive-through with an iron fin.
Okay.
I was a strict but fair shift manager at Taco Bell.
We have a whole episode on Dorothy Eady.
Link down in your chalupa.
Now, someone claiming to be a reincarnated ancient Egyptian priestess sounds fringe, but archaeologists listened to Dorothy Eady because her memories helped them find actual ruins at Abydos, and she claimed that beneath the Sphinx lay a hall of records containing the history of the past. And seismic readings show that the rooms are there and that they contain something. Now, it could be rubble or it could be artifacts. Nobody knows. The only way to find out is to dig, but no digging is allowed. Right now, a team from the Polytechnic University of Milan is at Giza. They're using cosmic ray muon radiography, technology that sees through stone like X-rays see through the body. They claim they're mapping structural voids, and look at where they're scanning. They're focusing on the deep bedrock beneath the plateau, the exact place where Casey said the Hall of Records is waiting to be opened. The Italians are scanning deep under Giza right now. They're looking for the Hall of Records, and they might find it. But if you were an advanced civilization and you wanted to hide your most precious secrets, you wouldn't put them under the most famous landmark on Earth. A much better place for such important knowledge would be a maze carved deep underground. In other words, a labyrinth. Maybe the Hall of Records isn't in Giza. Maybe it's in the Labyrinth. Giza served as the public monument. It was the marker. 3 pyramids visible for miles. Everyone knew where Giza was. Everyone still does. But if you wanted to hide something, you wouldn't put it under the most famous landmark on Earth. You put it somewhere less obvious, somewhere with better security, somewhere designed from the beginning as a vault. 3,000 rooms underground, climate controlled by the Earth itself. Perfect conditions for preservation. Guarded by priests for 2,000 years, a structure so complex that intruders can never find their way out. The labyrinth wasn't a tomb, it was a repository. Historians documented it. The surface levels were Egypt's administrative hub. Government operations were visible to visitors. The middle levels held the religious archives and the crocodile burials Herodotus talked about. The deepest level was for technology storage. It held a 130-foot metallic ring, a portal that the priests protected but never fully understood. The priests said it was created by the builders, not the pharaohs, the people who came before. They weren't guarding burial chambers. They were guarding the knowledge of the Zep Tepi. They were guarding the secrets of the first time. Ancient accounts across 6 centuries describe the same structure and the same location. 2008 ground-penetrating radar confirmed a massive complex 40 feet underground. 2015 satellite imaging revealed 4 levels and a metallic object at the center. Both discoveries were suppressed. The 2008 expedition happened. There's nothing to debunk. They published results. They found granite walls spanning an area of 10 football fields. Hawass imposed a communications ban, citing national security. De Cordier published independently and was permanently blacklisted. The suppression is real, and the structure is confirmed. We still don't know what's down there. Scans show anomalies that require excavation to interpret. The metallic reading could be an object, or it could be a geological formation. Iron deposits occur naturally, and critics say satellite radar can't penetrate that deep. The claims require digging to verify, and until we dig, we have no idea what the metal object actually is. The Italian scans show voids. Now, whether those voids contain rubble or records, we won't know until we dig. Now, the Atlantis connection is interesting, but Plato's account is the only primary source. No archaeological evidence confirms a pre-flood civilization with advanced technology. Casey's readings were never independently verified, and the Edfu text could be mythology, not memory. And mainstream archaeology firmly rejects the idea of an advanced ancient civilization.
The Nile ain't just a river in Egypt, pal.
Ugh.
I'm throwing rocks tonight.
They refuse to accept the geological and physical evidence because it breaks their model of history. But conventional dating can't explain the water erosion at Giza. Shak's geology hasn't been debunked. It's been ignored. The Osirian shows identical weathering on megalithic blocks that dwarf anything the Egyptians built. Göbekli Tepe proves sophisticated construction existed in 9600 BC, or before. The flood myths align with geological evidence for the Younger Dryas catastrophe. Something happened at the end of the Ice Age, something we don't fully understand. Meanwhile, the Labyrinth is in trouble. Salt water is eroding everything. The water table rises every year. In 2024, geologists warned that if something isn't done about the water damage soon, the entire site will be destroyed. Thousands of years of history gone, and so far, their advice has been ignored. The greatest wonder of the ancient world is dissolving while bureaucrats argue about permits, and any scientist who dares speak up is blacklisted by Zahi Hawass. The structure is real. The scans confirm it. A massive metal object is sitting at the center of a great underground hall. The priests guarded it for thousands of years, and now when we finally have the technology to see what's down there, we're not allowed to look. Herodotus stood at the entrance to the underground. The priests told him no. 2,500 years later, we're still standing at the same door. And now, Zahi Hawass is telling us no. But walls do more than keep people out. They keep secrets in. And if the scans are right, the secret waiting in the labyrinth isn't just about Egypt's past. It's about all of ours. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. My name is AJ. That's Hecklefish.
Foreign types with the hookah pipe say, way-o, 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 way-o. Look like an Egyptian. Dink.
This has been The Y-Files. If you had fun or learned anything, I'd appreciate it if you like, subscribe, comment, share. That stuff allegedly helps the channel. Should I stop asking? Just, if there are buttons, please push them. Hey, if you want deeper dives on some of the things we talked about today, down below are links to The Secret of the Great Pyramid, Ancient Acoustic Levitation, Dorothy Eady, the Reincarnated Ancient Egyptian, a few Atlantis stories are down there, Göbekli Tepe and the Prophecy of Pillar 43, and the terrifying predictions of Edgar Cayce, all down below. And like all those topics we cover, today's was recommended by you. So if there's a story you want to see or learn more about, get a deep dive on, go to theyfiles.com/tips, email us, hop on Discord, get in touch with us. We're always looking for topic ideas. Now remember, The Y-Files is also a podcast. You can take us on the road. Over there, I post deep dives on the stories we cover on the channel, and I also post episodes that wouldn't be allowed on the channel. And the podcast is called, it's very creative, it's called The Y-Files Operation Podcast. And it's available everywhere you get your podcasts. And if you are listening on an audio platform, please hit the buttons. Those really do help. Now, if you need more Y-Files in your life, see a doctor. No, I'm kidding. See our Discord. We've got about 90,000 people on there. So 24/7, there are people hanging out, talking about the same weird stuff we do here. It's a great community. It's really supportive. It's a lot of fun, and it's free to join. And speaking of 24/7, check out our 24/7 stream on the Y-Files Backstage. Over there, we run episodes back-to-back with some fun content in between. Actually, Morgan the Beaver has been making some appearances over there. So the episodes are a lot of fun, but what's really a great time is the chat. An incredible community has sprung up over there, so definitely check it out. Links are down below. Special thanks to our patrons who made this channel possible. Every episode of The Y-Files is dedicated to our Patreon members. From the beginning, I couldn't do any of this without your incredible support. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you. And if you'd like to support the channel, keep us going, and join this amazing community, become a member on Patreon. For as little as $3 a month, you get access to perks like videos early with no commercials, exclusive merch, We're starting to add some Q&A videos that are a lot of fun. Plus, you get 2 private live streams every week just for you, and those are a lot of fun. The whole Wi-Files team is on the stream. You can meet all of us. Plus, you can turn your camera on, jump up on stage, ask a question, tell a joke if you want to learn more about some of the stories or the research. It's a great way to get to know us as people. Another great way to support the channel is grab something from the Wi-Fi store.
Grab a Herodotus t-shirt or one of these fistable coffee mugs so you can slide your fist in when nobody's looking. Do whatever you want. I'm not going to judge you. Oh, a hoodie. I'll get some of my face on it. I'll grab one of these squeeze animal. Look, oh, he's so cute. I just want to squeeze on him. Get a Herodotus tugging down toy.
But if you're going to buy merch, make sure you become a member on YouTube. Now, hear me out. It costs $3 a month. But YouTube members get a coupon code for 10% off everything in the Wi-Fi store forever. So if you're going to spend $40 on t-shirts, become a member for $3, use the code, and it pays for itself. And look, if you just want to grab the code to do your holiday shopping and then cancel, that's totally fine. The membership is there to save you money, not make me money. In fact, all that revenue goes to the team. I don't touch any of it.
Keep that secret close to your gills, huh?
Last plug. In a few weeks, I'm launching a new show called The Basement, where I'll be talking with interesting people. Some of them you know, some you don't, but they're all people that I find fascinating, and a lot of them are the names behind the research to the stories that I do here. And if there's someone you'd like to see on the show, let me know. We're always on the hunt for good guests. Again, the show is called The Basement, and the episodes will land here on the main channel until I figure something else out. Anyway, that's gonna do it, right? That's gonna do it. Until next time, be safe, be kind, and know that you are appreciated.
I played Polybius in Area 51. A secret code inside the Bible said I would. I love my UFOs and paranormal fun, as well as music, so I'm singing it like I should. But then another conspiracy theory becomes the truth, my friends, and it never ends. No, it never ends. I feel the crap I got stuck inside Mel's hole with MK Ultra, being only too aware. Did Stanley Kubrick fake the moon landing alone on a film set, or were the shadow people there? The Roswell aliens just fought the smiling man, I'm told, and his name was Cold. And I can't believe I'm dancing with the fish on Thursday nights, Wednesday J2, and the Wi-Fi's happening all through the night. All I ever wanted was to just hear the truth, so the Wi-Fi's on repeat all through the night. The Mothman sightings and the solar storm still come to Agatha, the secret city underground. Mysterious number stations, planet Serpo 2, Project Stargate, and what the Dark Watchers found. In a simulation, don't you worry though. The Black Knight satellite, it told me so. I can't believe I'm dancing with the fish on Thursday nights, Wednesday J2, and the Wi-Fi's happening all through the night. All I ever wanted was to just hear the truth, so the Wi-Fi's on repeat all through the night. And the fish on Thursday nights, Wednesday J2, and the Wi-Fi's happening all through the night. So the Wi-Fi's on repeat all through the night.